attending from the different parts of the India and been integrated into this presentation. I hope Aditya has covered lot many things about green, and everything is green, I suppose, right? And you people can see that I am wearing my turban also as a green. So that is a green signal we are spreading, that everything should be turned into green, so that we try to waste minimal, right, and try to save the earth as much as possible we can. Now here I have to say very few things, because Aditya has already covered a lot many things. So well, I am Sarwan Singh, working as an Assistant Director Systems in NILET Chandigarh. And NILET Chandigarh is a national-wide body with 31 centers spread across every state capital. Right? And my experience basically is with the different system integrations, where we were using different type of technological aspects, right? And today we will be taking up this virtualization, and I'll just demonstrate you how we can implement, as Aditya has said, that we can use our PC or the operating system for different causes, right? Or we can load multiple operating system on a single hardware, right? And we can run this simultaneously at my existing resources, right? Whereas replicating the effects, replicating the benefits many folds, right? तो बहुत सारे बेनिफिट अगर हम लोग इकट्ठे कर लेंगे एक ही हार्डवेयर को यूज करके, that will be basically the green, right? And we will see right now, just to sum up, I'll just have few slides, very few slides, right, so that we don't waste a lot of time in accessing how virtualization happens. So we will be just talking what is virtualization, few slides, only 2-3 slides. Cloud computing, right? And then power usage effectiveness, that is a green IT, and practical demonstration, right? We'll see this. What is virtualization? As Aditya already said, in computing refers to an act of creating virtual rather than actual version of something, but not limited to a virtual computer hardware platform, operating system, storage device, or computer network resources. Everything, whatever physically we have, logically we are replicating for number of things, right? It is replicated number of times. So the end user who is using it, right, is not actually feeling the difference whether I am using the physical resources or using the logical resources, right? So this is what is a simple definition, right, as we see in the different books, right? Now we have different type of models available, right? On we are working already or using all these type of models right now with us, right? So one is a traditional app server model, where this picture we can see our VMware and number of other softwares, as already discussed, right? These are the simple, logically we are demonstrating the traditional application server model, where we have one machine, we have one OS, right? And on that OS we are just having one application or two applications, just using that resources, right? And much of the time it is lying unused, right? It is ineffective. How we can just sum up with this one more slide, right? In reality, most servers uses 5 to 15 of their 15% of their capabilities on the average, whereas consuming 60 to 90% of their peak power. So we can see this simple line tells everything what we are discussing since morning, that just for the 15%, right, we are wasting or we are consuming 60 to 90% of the power, right? So rest of, if we say the maximum power usage of the server, that is 15% or even 25%, then 75% is a waste. We can use effectively that rest of the 70% also. So for that we have the word, this virtualization, right? The solution is virtualization. Now this virtualization solution is not very new, right? It is not very new, right? IBM servers were virtualized in 1970 also, right? If we go down the line to the archives of IBM, right, we can see that servers, the operating system that IBM used to have, right, it was virtualized, right? It was running multiple instances on the same hardware, right? But at that time, it was not accessible by a common man like the PC we are accessing now, right? It was not accessible to us in the similar form. It was available in the form of multi-user environment, where we were just looking at the dumb terminal, right? We were just using, or we are just giving the commands. It was processed somewhere out of the order, means in the server. Physically we are not close to it, right? We cannot visualize, we can't see where we are, how it is running, or how many people are currently running with it, right? But now, as in 80s we started working with PC, right? And the PC is in front of us, right? We are just executing some application on that using the resources, but most of the time we started feeling that I am not using it and nobody is using it. It is just lying vacant. It is just lying open. It is just running. It is just consuming power. So we started moving much ahead. And similarly, Intel and other architectures started with the PC virtualization, and this became a reality in the decade of 90s only, right? So the solution virtualization, it is not very new, right? It is already there, right? It was we were virtualizing servers, right? But now we are virtualizing our PCs, where the PCs have much more capability as compared to the server of the 1970, right? So similarly, this solution virtualization uses one server to host multiple applications, reduces energy consumption, reduces CO2 emissions. Running few highly utilized servers free up the space and power. Less space and power is better for the environment and save money, as Aditya is saying since morning, right? So coming to this, this is another pick from the famous VMware software solutions, or the example of the VMware virtualization. Here we can see that architecture, the hardware is same, whereas there is one more layer added, that is simply here is VMware virtualization. We have VMware virtualization layer, right? Now in this VMware virtualization layer, this is what is the point of contest right now. We want this particular layer, whether we are working for the paid software, it is a software layer, right? It is a software layer which is basically making this hardware effectively used by more than one OS, right? More than one host guest OS, right? So this virtualization layer is created by software. It is open source also. It is commercial software also. This VMware is one of the commercial software. On the top of this, we can use any type of OS, right? Any type of OS. We normally term this as a guest OS, right? Running on a host OS. Now this virtualization layer can lie directly on the hardware, can lie on existing software, means existing OS also, that is termed as a host OS. We'll see both, right? Turning this virtualization layer lie on a hardware is termed as a bare metal virtualization. Bare metal virtualization is slightly one level up, one level difficulty level is up, right? But whereas it gives you the effective usage of the resources, effective usage, because nobody is there between the virtualization layer and the hardware. But otherwise, if we go for a host OS based virtualization, what we will see today in the demo, right, there the host OS has to release the resources. See, if we can just term that this hardware, above this hardware there is one more layer here sitting, right? One more layer is sitting here, right? I have just pointed out, if one host layer is here, that means it is Windows or it is any OS. If he releases the resources, then only the OS on the top here we will be using it. We term it as a guest OS, right? We term this as a guest OS. So this is my guest OS and this is my host OS, right? So if the host OS is not releasing the resources, right, in case of a commercial software, say Windows, then my guest OS, who is lying on the top of the virtualization layer, won't be effectively using it, right? So this we will realize, right, when we will be implementing one more level after this drill down. We'll drill down this picture again just to see the image currently on the screen. We have a hardware, we have a hypervisor, right, or virtual machine monitor. This is normally that layer we are talking, the virtualization layer, which basically manages the hardware beneath, right? This can be Xen, VMware, UML, Daniel, or etc. It can be anything. It will keep on coming by day. It will be improving, right? Number of commercial softwares are available in this course, right? Here we have number of commercial softwares. We have number of free open source softwares as well, right? It is our choice to use. It is our choice to use which one we are comfortable with and which one we are accessing, which is accessible to us, right? On the top of this, we can create a virtual machine. This is a virtual machine, one virtual machine with one guest OS, right? This is one guest OS. Right now, here we have a guest OS as Windows desktop. We can have a Windows server. We can have a Linux. It can be anything. It can be anything, right? So, well, I suppose everybody is with me only, right? I can see the many faces here, right? But whereas if we have any other OS apart from this, just the categorization. This is just the categorization that few of the OS is named here, but we have number of other OS also available, right? Can anybody name me any OS which is developed by India, right, or which is an purely an Indian OS? Anybody listening to this, and can anybody share with me the name of the OS which is developed by India, and official software, official operating system the India has? Anyone? I suppose I'm audible, but whereas I reserve this question, right? I'll answer this once this presentation ends, right? We have one OS with us, right? And that OS is one of the major backbone turning to be for India in the economical aspects of green IT and this open source, right? I'll continue with my presentation here, right? So this virtualization basically reduces the real estate needs, increases uptime, increases flexibility, reduces overall cost, reduces CO2 emission, power and cooling requirement, a number of things that we have already been discussed. We are talking, and this massively, if virtualization is done massively, this image basically, if we Google down on any time we say cloud, this type of images crops up. This basically becomes a cloud, right? This is nothing but an outcome of a virtualized environment only, where the hardware and the networks and the network devices, everything is getting being used virtually, right, by at different places. So, well, cloud is again is the same outcome of this. It is delivery of computing as a service. Whenever I'm using, like I'm using power, I'm using telephone, whatever I'm using, I'm paying for it. Similarly here, the platform provides on-demand services that are always on, anywhere, anytime, and any place. Pay for use as needed, elastic. It can scale up and down in capacity and functionality. That is what I should not always go for a big hardware, right? Rather than thinking that application may go massive. If the application is just at the tender hooks, is just starting, we can start with a small hardware, small resources, a small set of resources. But now if the resources, the application part is delivering much more, the number of users are increasing, we can increase the resources in no time if the cloud is being used, right? So this is what is simply cloud computing is an umbrella term, right? We termed a number of characters define cloud, data, application, service, and infrastructure. All this, everything, it is just a term, right? We have just one slide left. We'll start with our practicals, right? How we'll use this cloud, how can we virtualize our OS. So remotely hosted, ubiquitous, and modified. These are some of the terms which use. Remotely hosted means services or data are hosted on remote infrastructure. Ubiquitous, services or data are available from anywhere. We don't know from where we are accessing. See, if we are doing Google, if we are doing, if we are accessing a Gmail, right? The services are hosted right across world, right? The servers are right across the world, right? From where I'm sitting, the closest server I will be accessing, right? So that's why this all generics, or because all programs, algorithms are there, right? With the intelligence in it. Commodified, the result is an utility commuting model similar to traditional, that the traditional utilities like gas and electricity. That's what I just said, that how much electricity I'm using, I'm paying only for that. I'm not paying and at random that this much I'm going to always pay. So similarly here, we will be paying only for that much. This one slide, just to add on to the green, right? This is basically power usage effectiveness. Here we have already termed that the servers or the hardware should not be always on. It should be utilized optimally, as we started with the first or second slide. This is the last slide. I'm just concluding with this is basically the US General Services Administration's guidelines, right, regarding the green IT. The table on the right hand side here, this table basically tells us the power usage effectiveness. The level of efficiency is extremely inefficient if it is 3.0, and if it is 1.0, it is idle. So here we can say that according to the GSA, Salesforce or CRM SaaS-based cloud-based services, SaaS services, basically has a 1.5 and Google has a 1.2 rating on PUE. Salesforce is co-located in highly efficient data centers, whereas Google manages their own data centers. They have own Genesis, everything, all programming is done by themselves, right? And they are managing for the effective outcome of this. That's why they are very close to one. They're very close to idle, right? So with this, we come to the exactly how we can run this. Now we have 2-3 software names he has already done, already taken Aditya, right? And I too has said over here we have VMware here, we have Oracle VirtualBox also, right? The VMware is a commercial software, right? But available for limited usage, free usage, right? Similarly, VirtualBox was from the Sun, now taken over by Oracle. So we can have a simple example of the VirtualBox, right? It is simple, small, and effective, right? We can use it is we are using a host-based virtualization right now. We are not using bare metal, but whereas bare metal is for the high-end servers, right, which is supported by the number of the commercial and the open source as well. So we'll start with. Now we have here a simple VirtualBox 4.2.7 freely downloadable. It is just some 90 MB, right? We can download from the site. We'll just click onto this just to install. Right here we have Windows 8 OS with 4 GB RAM right now currently on this particular PC. Whereas, so we'll just install this. Now this 4 GB, basically if we go down the line some 15 years back, right, the 4 GB hard disk was available in the PCs, right? The PC which we bought or I bought in 98, right, for my office, it was just having 2 GB of hard disk and RAM of 128 MB, 128 MB or 32 MB rather, right? 128 was too big. So well, now we have 4 GB of RAM and 500 GB of hard disk. So this 4 GB of RAM is lying unused most of the time. So suppose this is my server itself. Right now I'm on the server. This 4 GB of this machine is a server. Now this server is configured on the intranet, right? And one of my application that we will come tomorrow as well, another session we have. In that session, so in another session, we will be tomorrow. We will be using a CMS, open source CMS, LMS, right? A learning management system, as discussed in the previous session. So this is how VirtualBox is created. It is VirtualBox is there, right? This is my VirtualBox, right? And I can now install any virtual machine onto this, right? Now if we have 3 servers, let's say if we have 3 servers with me, one is for Linux and one application runs on a Linux and another application runs on a Windows server. Now we know that in the dual booting machine, if we have a server with a dual booting, these 2 servers cannot run simultaneously. Only problem, I can install 2 or 3 or more than 5 OS at the same hardware, but whereas only one will run at a time. But whereas now in the virtualization, all 5 or all of them will run together. Now the host has one IP, right? The 2 VMs, if we install into this, both the VMs will have an IP, and with the IP address, if it is belonging to the network, right, your network resources is accessible easily, right? Easily your resources will be accessible. Now here we will just go to one by one the steps. This is a file. We have a virtual media manager, import appliance and export. Now suppose if we have the advantage of this, I'll explain this also before creating a new VM, right? If we have already one VM built by another person, right, on the same VirtualBox, right, at some other place, he can export an appliance, he can export the whole VM from there, and I'll import. This exporting and importing will take no time. It is very short and very easy. Now just see, I have two VMs with me. I have exported from there on my existing system. So we have one this Windows XP OVA, or Open Virtualization Format Archive, right? This I will use to create one XP, and we have one ISO file also. We'll use both. So we can go for the Red Hat also, any one we will see. So the shorter we go, easier we reach. So these are the resources of that machine where it was created. The VM was created on the another hardware, and the resources used by that machine was this much. It was using one CPU core, right? 1024 MB of RAM, there's 1 GB, right? DVD it was there, right? And sound card, network card, everything was there, right? I'll just say that import and carry on with the things, right? As such, जो भी वहाँ पे है, सब कुछ यहाँ पे आ जाए. So on the existing hardware, on this existing machine, this will have one hard disk. It will have a virtual hard disk. How he will create a virtual hard disk, we will see once, right? Now he is just, see over here, he is creating one VMDK, right? It is virtual machine disk, right? He will have he will create one virtual hard disk here on the existing hardware, right? If we have a 500 GB of hard disk over here, he will create one virtual hard disk of 40 GB or whatever we have specified here while creating this VM. So once this entire import process is finished, right, this XP machine is ready with me, right? This XP machine is ready with me. Now what we can do is, right, what we are practicing at our place is कि हमारे पास एक first time के बच्चे हैं, right? That first time guys are having different set of softwares to use, right? The third time guys have different set of things to use, right? Now if I install all the different resources at my machine at the same time, सारा कुछ एक साथ एक ही machine पे load कर दूंगा, right? Whether I'm using it or not, right? It occupies the whole space. By default, when the system boots, everything is up, right? So we create different VMs, right? And we share the VM with the students, right? We share the VM, we give the VM to the student, this OVF file to the student, and see, within no time it is there. Within no time this OVF file से पूरा का पूरा VM मेरा तैयार हो गया है, और ये VM अभी ready है. I can use this, right? I can use this. We'll just start this VM, what we just created. So this is how I am able to see that this hard disk is there, right? This symbolizes the hard disk, right? This symbolizes the CD-ROM, if any, right? Here he says that green signal at the down shows that hard disk is up, it is working. And this is the network is ready, right? Adapter, the virtual adapter, the network adapter is ready, and my Windows is up. So any password or anything, whatever you have applied in that machine, that will be available here. So this XP is there. Now if we have to install the XP with the help of a CD or a DVD, right, it takes a lot of time. We have to wait for that half an hour or 15 minutes, right? That job is there. Now we will be trying to see whether I am able to access. See, on the host machine, I have configured the internet. Whether I am able to use the internet here, we will see here. So this is how we minimize this screen. So yeah, we are able to access this. Now this VM is running. You can change the IP address in order to shoot the IP address according to your wish, right? Now we have specified the IP address. You don't want the IP address to be used. The IP address has to be changed. That we will do. But before doing all this gaming, how to set the IP address, how to use in the existing network and all that, what we are going to do is we will be creating one more VM with the help of an ISO file. Right? With the help of an ISO file. So how we close this VM? It's very simple, right? How we close this VM? It's simple. If we just put this cross, right, he will give me an option. Do you want to save the machine state? That means it is just like an hibernate. You want to send a shutdown button or power the machine. If you power off the machine, it will be just physically powering off the machine. It may crash. The resources may not be ready as such available. So we will be just saying send a shutdown signal. That's it. Machine will be shut down, right? It will be off. So we can create one more VM with the help of ISO first of all, to learn that if we have a CD or if we have the data ISO file copied onto my hard disk or onto my pen drive, how we will be creating one more VM. So meanwhile this is down, I'll go to creating one more virtual machine. Right here we have a new, right? I'll just rename, I will name something here. If the simplest one to go for is Windows, or some name I have given, any name it can be. All these type of OS is supported, right? All these type of OS is supported. Whatever type of OS you want, this VirtualBox will support. And if we change, suppose Linux, so we will have all these type of flavors. But all these flavors or distributions are available, supported by the Linux, by the VirtualBox, right? So the simplest one will go for the Windows XP. Right now we have a ISO available for the XP and all other also. We'll see one by one. Now the RAM we want to give, how much RAM you want to give. Now this is important. Suppose if we have a hardware with a 1 GB of RAM, so we have to sustain, install the OS with a 1 GB of RAM only. But here we can increase the RAM, install the resources and then reduce the RAM, right? This is what we can do, right? So well, I am right now giving, because no other VM is running, so I can give him 2 GB of RAM, right? And you want to have a hard disk, create a new virtual hard drive now. Yes, so we will have a simple hard disk, virtual disk image. So this VDI, VM disk, VHDD, hard disk, everything is available. VM disk is that the good one, default one. And that dynamically allocated is important, because this will limit the resources. If we have 40 GB of hard disk dynamically created and I'm using just 5 GB of that, so 35 GB won't be stacked for me, right? It won't be lying vacant. If some other resources requires it, it will be used. But dynamically, whenever I will increase the storage, I will put more data into this, it will be increasing. So dynamically allocated I'll choose, right? And the hard disk size, here he's showing 10 GB according to the Windows XP. He has set a predefined, you can choose as much as whatever you want. So I want to have 20 GB, let's say, and I'll go to the create. So one more machine with these settings is up, one more machine is up, right? Now in this machine we can see that we have this video memory is automatically distributed, that 16 MB to this, right? 1934 approximately some 2 GB of the RAM, right? And these all resources, whatever we have set, we can change this. If you want any point of time you want to change the resources, right? We can change the resources by clicking on the setting, right? And all the settings are available to me. I want to change the storage, I want to increase or decrease the hard disk or whatever, that can be changed right now over here, or anytime later on also we will see, right? And how we will install, if we just put on this machine start, but we don't have any hard disk, we don't have any OS into this machine, so he's demanding OS, right? Where it is, right? He doesn't know where the OS is, so I want to give him some ISO file from where it will install the entire system. So we have a ISO file right over here. Let's take, we have a Windows 7 or Windows XP. The smallest one is XP, that's why we are choosing the XP. So now you can see that all the steps which a installation process takes, right? All the steps, it will be taken over here, right? Step by step he will go gradually to install the different, all the steps, whatever steps are being used in installing a Windows XP, that will be there, or whatever OS you choose, right? Here we can see that he says that you want to set up an, yeah, I'll say continue with this. It's a traditional, I suppose everybody has used this XP number of times at a number of places. Now we have given him a 20 GB of hard disk, right? So this 20 GB is lying unpartitioned. We have to partition this, enter, and go to the NT, format the partition with existing NTFS file system. Now he is partitioning. So that's what was the difference, right? Why I took that OVF, Open Virtualization Archive format, OVA or OVF, Open Virtualization Format, or Open Virtualization Format Archive, right? Why I took this OVA file, just to show you that there is a difference between uh, installing from an ISO file, or creating a VM from an ISO file, or creating a VM from an OVA. So same process, this XP itself, I created this one more machine, virtual machine. You can see, just we saw over here Windows XP, and this is Windows desktop. So the Windows XP I created, it was from OVA, right? And within no time, it has just expanded that archive, taken that much space on the this hard disk, right? And the machine is ready, right? Within no time, right? Similarly, if I create, if I install, if I create a this VM and start installing, it will take that much process as physically we can see from the hard disk, right? So over here, physically he is using different different steps, right? Why I took XP was because it was very lightweight, right? The ISO itself is some 700 MB only, or 600 MB. We can see it a small CD. It used to be available, but nowadays all the OS is available on a hard on a DVD. It may be that ISO may be some 3 GB or 2 GB. So that much installation time it is going to take, right? We will see one more example with the Red Hat also once it finishes. So the first step of the XP installation is over. The CD is right now over there, right? The ISO file is connected with the drive, the CD drive, right? And virtually he is feeling that there is a CD-ROM inside the CD tray, right? So he is again trying to boot, but we did anything. So, but it will take that much time. It's going to take that much time. But meanwhile, if we are doing this, if we are installing this, simultaneously we want to install something else, that also we can do, right? If we want to have 3 VMs right now installed at the same time, it just is stagnated. It is having just an upper limit on the hardware resources currently available with you. Now we have 4 GB of RAM right now with my PC. This time the PC on which I am installing this, we have 4 GB of RAM, 2 GB we have given to this particular VM creation, this Windows desktop named VM. Host OS, this Windows 8 on this particular desktop is also taking some RAM, right? So if we start one more VM creation in between, so this two of the process will be delayed. So it depends upon you whether you want to create the VM simultaneously or one by one, right? So meanwhile this steps is taking place, it will take some time. We can create one more OVF installation. This is Open Virtualization Format OVF, and I'll name the archive file here. Right now it is with me, that is for the Red Hat. This Red Hat archive is, see over here we can have this is 1.2 GB and this is 6 GB or somewhat, right? Always the archive file will be more as compared to the ISO file, that is very sure, right? We'll just say open. He says that I have one CPU core, right? We have 890 MB of RAM or 2 GB somewhat, right? So these settings, I said, okay, well, this has to go as such, but the virtual machine will be created in the Studio One and all that VirtualBox folder, default folder. I said import. So he will be importing the resources, but on the same time at the back, we have one Windows is getting installed. See, these all settings is going to ask now, right? But whereas in the last OVF installation of Windows, right, it has not asked anything. So I just name it as a admin. All right, we need to name the इस XP का है उसकी की है देखो we'll just put in a key over here. So meanwhile the key is there. This will take the whole Red Hat, this 6.2 GB of the OVA will take no time, and it will install the entire VM here. If the VM importing will complete. I suppose till now everything is okay. Any doubt you people have anywhere, you can ask me. Or the number of people might have used this virtualization before and also, right? And if you find any problem in running this, then also you can ask. If you are new, you can start using it. Yeah, I suppose someone has some question.
When you use the virtual machines,
Yeah. Pardon?
it is Mohammed Polytechnic Ambala. I have a question.
Yeah.
When you use the virtual machines, you have research software for limited number of users. How you take care of that?
How come, sir? If we are using a virtual machine,
virtual machine, you have research software for number of users, like X users.
Right.
And how do you take care of that?
Now, you see, if it is a research software, then though it is very peculiar condition over with us, right? Because virtualization, if we do virtualization, we are doing just a hardware virtualization. We are effectively using the hardware in number of ways, whereas the software installed entity, if it is running simultaneously, whether it is in virtualization or it is without virtualization, the number of licenses has to remain the same, right? The number of users, if suppose you have a server in your premises or in your institution, right, and only 10 users are entitled to use a particular software. If the software is installed on your server or on a virtual server, wherever, the 10 number will remain the 10 only, right? But what we can do is, if you want to use the one VM, one setting for 10 users, one VM can have one software, 10 users using it. Once that case is over, once that process is over, we can put off that virtual machine. We can create another one to use a different set of conditions or different set of the data, and then use another 10 can use. But whereas that number of 10 won't increase, because that number is not linked with the virtualization, that number is linked with the security of the software. Sir, I am clear to you?
That is right, I understand that. Now, my point of discussion was that if we have a 10 user software, at a time the 10 persons can use them. Use them on the machines. Once you go for the virtualization, 10 different people can use at a time for that research software. And when somebody shuts down, like 3 persons are not using at a particular point of time, the other three use the same research software using the virtualization?
Yeah, there is no issue, sir. Virtualization, if we say that it is just creating another machine with existing hardware, it is not going to change any setting of your the software, intended software usage, right? No setting will be changed, no criteria will be changed, right? That will remain as such. If only 7 are using and it is 10 are authorized, 3 more can use. If it is virtualization, then also, right? But only thing we have to take care is that the virtual machine should lie within your network range. So the IP address we change according to our network, so that virtual machine is as same as any other hardware machine. There is no difference. There is no difference. Is that clear?
Thank you.
Sir, yeah. Morning, very good morning.
From your presentation, it is clear that green computing is going to benefit the society at large.
Yeah.
So my question is that can it be made compulsory for the corporate sector to adopt the green computing under their corporate social responsibility requirements? What's your take on that?
See, ma'am, from where we are talking, I suppose we are from? Yeah, Dibrugarh. Yeah, yeah. Very good. Yeah, very good morning, ma'am. Whereas number of organizations, those who are a software giants, they are already jumped for last 10 or 15 years. They are working into this. Like if we say the Microsoft already has one product like Office 365. They are publicizing very hard, right? Now, if we have, say, if I have a desktop, I just put a case study for this. If we have a desktop and I am having one OS onto that, so the Windows 8 will cost me how much? Right, Windows 8 we buy for any organization or government organization, we just buy a PC without worrying about what the software price it is, right? But whereas if we are, I am going to purchase one software for me at my place, that Windows 8 will cost me somewhat 5,000 rupees. And if we are going to have one this MS Office, that is going to take another 5,000 rupees, right? Office 2007 or 2010 or whatever it is, right? This 10,000 of software the software amount we are paid. Now 2010 will exist only for 1 or 2 years, and 2014 another software will come, 2017 another Office will come with new features. So this 2015, if I put 5,000 rupees for MS Office, 2017 again I have to pay 5,000 rupees, right? So what they are doing is, they said you are not going to go for a license, PC based license. You just have a cloud based solution, Office 365, right? It is just costing 4,000 rupees for general public, but whereas if we go for the corporate sector, some 100 licenses or 200, they can come up to 2,000 rupees. This 2,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees for one user with 5 devices. 5 devices means that I have one my laptop, one my PC at my place, at my home, one PC at my office, one tablet I have, right, and one more remaining. These 5 devices will be synced with 1 GB of space on the Microsoft server, right? Like Dropbox we have, like Google Drive we have. Similarly, OneDrive or SkyDrive, the Microsoft has 1 GB space. Also, they will give these 5 devices. They will sync, right, along with the Office license for 1 year usage for 2,500 rupees or 3,000 rupees, whatever it's settled, right? They will give you. And if in between, in July, suppose if I started using it in January and Office 2013 was available in 2000, and in July 2015 Office 2015 comes up, I need not to pay anything new. Automatically all the software's usage will be upgraded to the 2015, right? So it is up to us to feel, right, as an organization, that how we will tame the resources. We are taming the resources, means the students are not being told anything, right? Now if I say that what is the OS the India has developed, right? Now number of participants are available here, but till date for so many platforms I have spoken this, right? Nobody is able to name me the software, which the operating system which India has developed for himself. It's a Linux based distribution, right? Very few out of 100, only one star gives me the name. That means we don't know, as a teacher, as an orator, right, that what we own, right? We have to tell students that open source software does the same job as the commercial software is doing, but we are using a commercial software without worrying that how much cost I am going to bear, right? How much cost I am going to incur, and government is going to lose. I suppose one more gentleman. I suppose, ma'am, this is clear. Corporate is doing their job. Under CSR, organization have the product, right, and organizations are going for these products. But whereas these organizations are very few, right, the corporate or the high profile segment is very few, right. We are the orators, or we are the people who basically tame the masses. We have access to the masses. I take a class of some 200 students in a year. So if I keep reciting the open source and green and virtualization, right, with all India, what India has, then only these 200 guys will go out in the market and say that yes, India has something and we have to choose the Indian only, right? So if we are not doing, right, we are not able to guide the people, right, nobody is going to understand for another couple of, say, another decade or so, right? Okay, please, one more gentleman has a question from Dibrugarh itself, I suppose. Ma'am, I am clear, I suppose.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning, sir.
This cloud computing or cloud storage is fine, but do you actually in India, the big problem actually is the network infrastructure. We not have it in place where maybe I can go for Office 365 or maybe whatever we're talking about, working on the cloud. So don't you think that first we have to actually take care of this background infrastructure? That means I'm talking especially about the bandwidth and the network.
See, sir, if we talk about the bandwidth, that is not in my control, right? I start always pointing a finger to the next problem, right, which I can resolve, that I should look for first, right? Bandwidth I cannot term, or I can't change, or I can't increase in a day. But whereas the number of PC usage, right, PC, the number of people has, every household has access to the PC somewhere, right, whether in the school or in the college or somewhere, right? These resources are not effectively used. If we start accessing the resources effectively, efficiently, then only we can say to the next the problem on the next door that the bandwidth is not available, right? We people are able to access the Facebook on my phone for $100 a month, but we are not able to say that I am able to write my doc file also on my handset. If I'm doing chatting using my Facebook on my handset for say 3,000 or 2,000 rupees handset, also it is Android based available, but we should try to write our document also with the open source software, right? So how many desktops in our institutions have an open source MS open source Office? We can't even have 10 names of the open source softwares. We didn't tell 10 name to the students also, right? So bandwidth problem is there, I agree, it will remain, but it is beyond our control, right? If we continue with the problem to the next door, that won't give me the right result, and India won't progress until unless we try to effectively use. If we start using our own OS, right, that is a Linux based OS, and the name of the OS I'll just write over here. It is basically BOSS. Bharat Operating System Solution. Now, it is not a very new thing. I'll just go to the Google and say BOSS. See, every country in Europe has his own distribution, right? Has its own distribution. Clear? That is a Linux-based distribution. After Windows XP, number of countries in Europe has not migrated to Windows 7 or Windows 8. They have migrated to the Linux distributions, right? We have Linux distribution since 2004, 2005, right? From the era of our President, Honorable APJ Kalam Saab, right? Till that era, since that era, we have this BOSS, right? By force also sometimes government is trying to implement that we should use this, right? But we are not contributing much to this, right? I am not contributing to this. If I'm at the stakeholder as a, right, I said I am not contributing, because if I communicate this to the people that there is another Linux distribution which is having all the Indian languages into it, right, comfortably, right, the BOSS distribution for educational EduBOSS is also available, right, and number of the defense is using effectively this BOSS operating system, right, and we can upgrade, we can create our own softwares with no extra money to be paid to anybody, right? We can create our own software, integrate into this and distribute. clear? Sir, yes, sir. Is that I'm clear, sir? I'm clear for this. Any other question, I suppose, from that side?
You're back.
So this is what is a BOS operating system. On the screen itself, it is there. BOS, Bharat Operating System Solution. I'm not saying this is the best Linux distribution available, because the best only it will become when the number of people will use it, right? So whether 125 crore of population or more, right, we are very meager to use this, right, Linux. Whereas on the other side, we use Windows and we don't know the difference between many, even if I say more than 90% student doesn't know the difference between a pirated software or a open source software, right? They are just using it. So we own Windows because it is for us, right? वो हमारी है, हम उसे use कर रहे हैं without worrying about what is the piracy and all. Any other problem? Any other question, sir? Any other question from Dibrugarh, sir? I'm audible. So we'll see, we have number of steps to perform while installing this. So on the other side, this OVA we use to create Red Hat, it is also there. This OVA is also there. If we want to change the IP address in order to configure this VM into my own network, that also we can do. We'll do just once this installation completes. So let's take this XP we are running with. This XP we have here. As we can see the IP address, or if anytime you want to change the IP address of a host machine.
इस कार्यक्रम में शिक्षकों को नेट के बारे में विस्तारपूर्वक जानकारी दी गई। कार्यक्रम के बारे में जानकारी देते हुए डायरेक्टर एमडी पुनिया ने बताया कि इस तरह की नेट की ट्रेनिंग से बच्चों को काफी फायदा पहुंचेगा। उन्होंने बताया
So here we have one VM which is already there with the Windows, and another VM which we are creating. See, it takes lot of time for the installing from the ISO. So it is better that we create on one machine, we create VMs, right? Take export the OVA format and then just import the OVA format to the rest of the machines, right? So that the entire job becomes easy. Here for last 15 minutes we are trying to install simple XP using a ISO, and it is taking so much of time. But whereas on the other side we have created another 23 minutes are remaining, but on the other side we have created a VM using a OVF format, so it has just expanded within no time, whether it is some 6 GB of OVF or 2 GB of OF, whatever. I suppose we can, while this installation takes place, any question if it is there from the participants we can take meanwhile. These two things are on the process. Any questions we have?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, actually, I have a question regarding VMware.
Yeah.
So we are using IP address. Suppose we are using 3 VMware in a particular system.
Okay.
So, sir, when we are using IP address, so IP address will be assigned particularly to the main system interface. The 3 VMware software are there, or we have to assign IP address to the system which are under VMware.
Okay.
So what will be the settings, sir, exactly?
See, you on the host OS, the machine on which the VM is running, right? That IP address you have given dynamically or you have statically configured the IP address. There are two things. Whether you have static IP address configuration or you have a dynamic IP address, DHCP.
Sir, for static IP address, sir, suppose means in a live network, regarding that I'm telling. Means once IP is coming from proxy server or a particular system.
Okay.
So under that system, what are the settings?
All right. We'll just see here. I have opened up a Windows XP here, and we have a host OS on this Windows XP. Which IP address it is there? We will see once, right? So here we'll go to the control panel in order to see which type of IP address it is assigned. See, there are two things. Whether the IP address is assigned through DHCP, means there is some DHCP server who is assigning the IP address, right? Or you are the PC, the host PC has a fixed IP address, not the static, right? It is a 192.168 some private IP address, but it is fixed. Means always that PC is switched on, the IP address remains fixed, right? If it is that type of setup, both the settings slightly will vary, right? Suppose on this VM, this is a Windows XP VM, the simplest VM we have created. I'll just see here that the IP address I have given to this machine is 192.168.1.250, right? Now, if this IP address is fixed, like as I am giving here some private address, the host PC should have similar sort of some IP address in order to make communication between this VM and the host, right? If that PC has a virtual that has a DHCP, we'll see the host also. I'll just minimize this for this cause. Just now you asked the question, right? It is a very good question. We'll just go to the connections to see whether we are able to configure now the IP address. What type of IP address is given here in order to access the this network, right? If this is a DHCP, right, the VMware or the virtualization software will automatically take some IP address. Now the IP address range that VM is giving is another private range which is different from the IP address of this host network, right? Suppose this host network is having an IP address of the range 192.168, something like that, the machine, the virtual machine will give some other IP address. We need to have a netting between both the things. Otherwise, they won't be synchronizing with each other, right? We'll see here once this control panel opens. So this IP address, another, I don't know how much time this VM is going to take, because it is occupying the 2 GB of space, 2 GB of RAM of this resource. Now on the host, I am using this, let's take on the host, whenever you install a virtual machine or a virtualization layer or some virtual software, this automatically this type of icon will come up, which basically manages the virtual IP addresses. Now the IP address here which is given to this machine is dynamic. See, it is automatic. Now if the IP address is automatic on the host, right, and in the VM you are fixing it, then they won't be synchronizing with each other because they will fall in different category, right? The question was simply that if I am having a machine which is getting an IP address from one server, right, on that machine when it is switched on, an IP address will be given to that particular machine for the while the machine is open, right? That IP address, whatever IP address it has, when the virtual machine will come up, when the virtualization will create one virtual machine, that IP address, the virtualization IP address, the virtual machine IP address should be in sync with the network IP address on the host. Otherwise, they won't talk to each other. Now, if it is dynamic over here, there also we should do dynamic. There also, if we do dynamic, then only there will be synchronization, right? But whereas the range will be different. This time, the range will be something different. Otherwise, inside that range will be different. We'll see now. Here we will open up a command prompt. Now, which IP address is allotted to me right now? We can see from here. So right now the IP address which is assigned to me is some 20.237, right? And the default gateway is 20.1. But whereas the VM where I am creating, I am using a VM, the virtual box. On that VM, I have given one IP address which is 192.168.1 dot something. Now these two fall in a different network, so that's why they are not talking to each other, right? That means the resources which is kept on the host machine won't be available to the virtual machine. If you want, the virtual machine should be able to access that. Either you make it this IP address dynamic, right? Here it should automatically get an IP address from when this machine is on, then he will be able to talk, right? Otherwise, both the IP addresses of the virtual machine and the host machine should fall in the same network in order to access the resources from the virtual machine to the host, right? Is that clear? I'll just create this once for you and see whether it gains the IP address. I suppose I'm clear or not, Dibrugarh? Yeah, I suppose there is a gentleman sitting in the Dibrugarh. He has done some practical with this. You have already seen some practical with this?
Yes, sir, I have worked on this software.
Okay. So the resolution is with the IP address. Huh? The problem is with the IP address configuration.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So,
Now see, on my desktop, you can see the virtual machine has got a IP address of a class B. Right? On the virtual machine, right, you can see the IP address which dynamically is allotted to the virtual machine is of class B, or rather class A IP address. It is a private class A address, like 10 dot something. But whereas on the machine, on the host machine, which is connected to the internet right now and browsing the internet, is having an IP address which is of range. It's a class A private address. This is a class C private address. So these two classes are different right now. One is class C private address, and the virtual machine is having a class A private address. Is that clear? So this NATing, this network address translation, is being done by this virtualization software itself. This network address translation is done by the virtualization software, right? If you try to ping one to another, they won't be able to, right? And here basically comes is a hindrance. Sometimes we feel like that whatever VM we have created, that is not able to exist into my existing network, right? And that's why we close the VM, that this is of no use. But only thing is we have to configure this IP on the virtual machine into the same IP address range which is existing in my host network. Then they will be able to communicate to each other. Is that clear, sir? If it is not done any point of time, you can again just mail us, or through Amardev sir, you can talk to me. Right, we will resolve this issue, but it is not an issue at all. Right, only thing is there is some NATing problem, right, which we can change from the existing settings of the virtual machine. So if we are having a internet connectivity right now, we'll see. Yeah, internet connectivity is there. We can go to the virtual machine here, and already an IP address we saw. We'll see a IP address here. This is the IP address. I try to browse internet from here. So there are 4 modes of networking here, right? And the default mode for networking is NAT, which is by default active. But whereas now your problem will be resolved by the bridge network, which is another category. From the setting of the VM, we can go and see. I'll just show you. So here on the VM, we can open up a setting of any virtual machine. Like suppose I want to change the setting for this virtual machine or this any virtual machine. I'll just go to the setting. Now we have 3 things running right now on this machine. Now the 4 GB is exhausted. That's why you feel the entire process is slow. Otherwise this 4 GB machine was very good. You just click and things crops up immediately. But once this 2 VMs are running with 1 GB or 2 GB of RAM, only 1 GB is left for the host OS. So in 1 GB he is not able to adjust. So see, this music from this particular installation can be heard, right? And we took somewhat for last some 40 minutes we are installing this VM only, but whereas with the OBA file we could do just within 4 minutes, right? It was just 4 minutes was sufficient to install that particular file. So well, I suppose this Windows is up, but we are not going to do anything here. We'll just put off this machine so that it frees some resources. See here, if you go to the setting tab of, by selecting any of the VM, go to the setting tab, we have this IP address which could be managed here with 4 different settings. So by default, network address translation mode is active, right? Whereas we can go the bridge mode, internal network, host only adapter, and generic adapter. So these are some of the settings we have to fiddle with in order to get this particular machine onto the internet or onto the existing host network or whatever, right? This is what is a change. Only here we need to change the setting in order to get the things right. What was our problem at the Dibrugarh? Right. Any other problem we have?
Sir, good morning.
Very good morning, sir.
I'm Kaushik from Dibrugarh University.
Sir.
I want to bring a point from the earlier conversation about the cloud computing.
Right.
Regarding cloud computing, you have said for example regarding SkyDrive, MyDrive.
Right.
All these are very good examples. Even I use SkyDrive and MyDrive. All I have observed one thing that general people, all the people are using maybe they keep official documents, personal important documents in pen drive, and finally if the pen drive gets lost, they face lots of problems.
Right, right.
Their whole research work get lost. But if they keep all these important files in MyDrive, SkyDrive, if the people are more aware of SkyDrive, then these problems people will not face.
Definitely, definitely.
So my point is that when a person go to any IT shop to buy a pen drive, then if the pen drive comes with a facility like they get some additional space of MyDrive or SkyDrive, if they are bound to use SkyDrive, then slowly people will start using bandwidth also to access the SkyDrive. So people will be more aware of the technologies from the open source software. So my point is regarding the using of the cloud computing technologies. So how can you suggest regarding promoting this kind of technologies?
Sir, first of all, I suppose as a teacher, if we are just before continuing with your question, sir, I just want to show you that this VM is also using internet right now, right? I am having the host OS पे भी internet चल रहा है. ये host OS है हमारे पास this backend पे. This is the host OS. I just minimize. Just now I created a VM just now without doing anything. मैंने कोई सेटिंग चेंज नहीं किया, कुछ नहीं किया. इस VM में दिस विंडोज डेस्कटॉप नाम का VM जो मैंने आपके सामने अभी बनाया, इस VM में भी मैं जाके इंटरनेट कर रहा हूँ. इट इज गिविंग मी द एक्सेस. मींस द होस्ट OS credential is being used by this VM as well. इस VM ने भी वही credential यूज किया जो host OS का है. So anything which basically connects to the host OS, right? Anything whichever comes to the host OS will be available in the virtual machine also. So any type of IP addressing, any scene you are going to do, right, that is possible, right? Take my words that we are trying this for last a couple of years rather, right, last 4-5 years in our premises, right, and we have saved a lot. Means whenever there is an exam, we want a machine to be up, right, a server to be up, right, we just create a VM, we just allot the resources to that, right, and leave other people for a while, right? All the resources are diverted to that VM, right? IP address is flashed, or that IP address is configured in the proxy, and entire my intranet is accessing that, right? So there is no problem at all if we use this open source like this VirtualBox, or if we use VMware also. If you are going for the commercial, then also it is good, sir. Right. So I'll come to your question, sir. Your question was basically that why we are not forcing, right? Why we are not forcing the people to keep the data onto the SkyDrive or onto the cloud, rather than advising or suggesting them or guiding them to keep a pen drive in their pocket, right? My question with the illustration, the answer to this question is with an illustration that you cannot force anybody to go to a place of worship, right? I cannot force anybody to say that you follow this religion or you go to this worship place, right? It is his whims and wishes, right? We can just suggest him. So the best option is that we suggest them, we guide them, or we demonstrate these technologies rather than just convincing ki you use it. If we start using it in front of them, if I am using in front of my students, right, automatically out of 10, without telling anybody, out of 10, 4 students come to me and say, sir, ye aap kaise rakhte hain, right? And once that 4 out of the 4, the 3 are using, the rest 6 will definitely follow, right? That is my experience for last a decade, which I am practicing, right? But whereas forcing somebody to use the cloud basically gives a different answer, right? Different meaning to the this scenario. That why we have an interest to the SkyDrive, why I have an interest to the Google Drive, why I have an interest to the Dropbox. But whereas rather if we just demonstrate, right, this technology like Dropbox, right? I am having a simple phone, I clicked some pictures, I want to copy that to the Dropbox. Why not do I configure a Dropbox on my handset, right? I cannot afford to a costly iPhone or something like that, right? Similarly here, if you go for a Dropbox, if I have a Yahoo account, I can go for a Dropbox. If we have a Gmail account, we can go for a Google Drive, right? Dropbox gives me the 2 different PCs availability, right? I can configure the Dropbox on my PC at my place, at my home, and as well as in my office. So both the directories are synced with each other. So whatever I want to carry with me at my place, right? जो मुझे घर लेके जाना है, I just copy that into the Dropbox at my office, right? Coming back to my home, it is synced, right? Similarly, whatever I do at my home, right? I just copy that to the Dropbox. Now this is for me. ये तो मैंने किया. What I advise as an instructor, as a teacher, right, as a technical institution, I have configured an email address. I have created an email address for a class. Once I start with a class, I create one Yahoo account, right? Automatically, some 5 GB of Dropbox is allotted to me, right? I give assignment to my students and just tell them to put that things into that or mail the entire presentation onto that particular account. That is automatically copied or saved into the Dropbox, right? It is available to me, right? And I have publicly shared that particular folder to all my participants. They can see each other presentation when it is copied, who has given at what time. So there is no partiality at all from my side also, knowingly or unknowingly, right? And it is clear. So once he submits, right, it is time stamped and it is copied and it is saved there. Right. So this practice without any cost, and my Dibrugarh friends were saying about the bandwidth, without worrying about the bandwidth, I am just using Gmail or I am using Yahoo with no worries about the bandwidth for last 2 decades, right? So similarly, why not to use same resource, right, for the effective implementation of the methodology or the pedagogy what we use, what we implement, or what we are into, right, into this technical institutions, right? I'm clear, sir, or we will discuss something more onto this?
Very much clear. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
If you have any other idea what I have told right now, if you have any other idea, you can share with me. I am very open, right, so that we both can progress together.
If I have some few more, then we will share in our future.
Sure. Sure.
Basically, sir, actually, I have talked about bandwidth, and I maintain my position actually because you are talking about sharing your say PowerPoint presentations or whatever.
Right.
Satisfies.
Right.
Simple mailing and uploading content. I mean, if you are talking about uploading content, you need bandwidth.
Right.
For example, today's web-based applications to even to run, you need a lot of bandwidth.
Right.
Bandwidth has to be looked at.
Right, definitely. That's I'm very much with you, sir. 100% I agree that bandwidth is always required, right? Existence cannot be relied on few facts which we cannot change or we cannot achieve. Right, one thing. Right, I am not targeting a 1 or 2 or 3 anybody, but just I am sensing or I am advising myself that if bandwidth, if my boss asks me a presentation, I have a very sleek bandwidth available for my handset. What I do is I make two presentations, one presentation with only textual inputs, no image, and another presentation with images, right? So I just upload the textual presentation to him and saying that the bandwidth is not available, it will be available tomorrow when I will be reaching my office or so. So I just give him some textual data, right? If I upload a text file that is hardly of some KB, right? If you take a presentation, right, in which there are 20 or 100 slides, and that all 100 slides are having only text, there is no video, no image, it will be just of few MB, 1 or 2 MB, rather it is less than that. If that is also not possible, just copy the entire, in the outline mode, go to the outline mode, copy the text, put it into the notepad and just send it to him, right? So that's why we manage only, right? Otherwise bandwidth will definitely crop up, sir. Over the years, for last decade, we have seen huge exponential growth in the available bandwidth in Indian scenario, right? In another few months, we must say, another few months, the scenario of bandwidth will change, right? Because there are a number of promising schemes from the government side it is coming, right? And all the government or all the universities and the technical institutions have been connected with the NKN, right? We might have heard that is a very prominent scheme by Government of India, NKN, Knowledge Network, right? If you are connected to the knowledge network, then this bandwidth problem, I suppose, will be eradicated totally. Sir? I'm sure, sir. Clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. So I suppose that the another gentleman, Dibrugarh, had a problem with the IP address, right? We can resolve the IP address also from a virtual machine anytime, right? If you feel like any problem is there, you can write to us. We can share the difference, share the problems on the mail so that the things are settled right in time.
Sir, can I get your email address, sir?
Yeah, I am just writing it right across here. So these two IP addresses, two email addresses. I have just used here the VirtualBox software, right? It is not that I am not supporting VMware or so, because VMware is a very it's a good commercial software, but it is a very huge, right? It takes some 500 MB of the software itself, takes lot of time in loading and installing. That's why we have consistently using this VirtualBox. So you can use any of them. There is no problem at all.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, yeah.
Regarding this cursor profile, actually sometimes it's coming full screen. We can see your presentation and see you in a full screen, but right now it has been split up with other college also. That's why your email address is not viewable.
Okay, I'll just speak up this email address. It is SARWAN Sarwan. Again I repeat SARWAN. It's wide area network. Yeah, I suppose it's wide area network WAN, Sarwan. Yeah, at Sarvan underscore Singh 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 @yahoo.com. And the another one is Sarvan @Nilet NIELIT nilet.gov.in. Nilet is National Institute of Electronics and Information Technology. Is it clear, sir?
Okay, sir, thank you.
Right. Anything else from the participant side? I suppose I am finished with the things. We have demonstrated, we have seen together how to install a VM and how to configure the VM, how to get an IP address of the VM, and how to run multiple VMs together, how to create an archive of the existing VM, and how to deploy this archived VM to the another host machine, right? This machine could be server, this could be anything, right? With n number of hardware resources, this VM, this virtual box is able to manage. There is no issue, right? Anything apart from this, or we close?